Disafterdark is a member of the MiceChat podcast network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature, mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show. It's at this point I normally sigh, but I've avoided it.
You've mentioned you're going to sigh,
So far.
I was trying not to sing, and I succeeded.
Feel free, the pub singer's not here tonight. Thank you. You're all more than welcome. Welcome back to the snug bar of the Mouse's Head for another episode of Disafterdark. I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
I'm Paul D.
And joining us in the bar tonight is a Texan by the name of Troy. Hello, Troy.
Hello, Paul, and Nick, and everyone listening.
Excellent. We'll find out a little bit more about why you're here in a minute. We'll save the surprise for a little bit.
All right.
Some people, I don't know. Some people might just recognise your blog and name, but we'll leave the rest of it as a surprise. We'll start the usual way. Gentlemen, what are we drinking?
I'm drinking Stella Artois Raspberry Cidre, which is cider basically, but they can't spell.
There might be a bit of that going round. It's Belgian, but you can get it in Disneyland Paris.
That's the connection then.
That will do.
Because I couldn't think of another one.
No, that will do.
Now, I'm sure you mentioned it before.
Sorry, Nick.
No. I was just doing my usual interrupting everyone.
That's all right.
I don't think I've had this before, but surely it can't be cider if it's not made of apples. Do we have that discussion?
So what's Cidre made from then?
Well, I mean, they can make it from whatever they like, but what I'm saying is I understand that it can only be cider if it's made from apples.
I don't know. Is it based
Not
on
just
cider
fruit.
and then add flavours? I don't know. Maybe. Possibly.
Either way.
Says it's made using hand-picked raspberries.
What is it, like a
believe that?
talent
Yeah.
contest, like Simon Cowell's choosing...
Yeah. I'm sorry,
raspberries.
you're out. Yeah. Whatever phone.
It's a no for me.
Okay then, Nick.
I've gone for an American craft beer today from the Blue Moon Brewing Company, established in 1995, and it is a Blue Moon.
Where
Very
did you find
original.
that? Did you put a little slice of orange in it?
No, but it does... Hang on.
Because every time I've had one of those, someone has stuck a piece of fruit in it.
Yeah.
Well, it does say, actually, when I was reading this yesterday, subtle twist, serving it with an orange slice garnish.
Apparently so. Stop putting fruit in my beer.
Amen.
Yeah.
He said to the guy who's got raspberry cider.
I'm about to
Yeah, but that's cider. That's not putting fruit in beer.
in lager. Yeah.
That's made of. And the thing is, like, I understand, like, the Corona thing, right? Because the whole idea is that, in Mexico, it's something they do to keep the flies from going near the beer. So I kind of understand that to an extent. But, even so, orange beer, just weird, isn't it?
Well, unless it makes one of the two of the five a day now. Some wheat and some fruit.
You mean like Jaffa cakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do.
Oh, that's really nice.
Okay. Troy,
Yes.
are you joining us with a bar?
I am. I've got myself Shinerbach beer, local Texas beer. No Disney connection that I know of. Sorry, but
Don't worry, we can always try and fit one in somehow.
I don't know. Shinerbach, I don't know. We're going to struggle there.
Yeah, never going to shoehorn that one in. Never. Yeah. Well, I've gone for a Strongbow, which also being cider. Yeah, they sell it in Epcot.
Yes.
So, but I've gone for the dark fruit variety, and I couldn't figure out how to go through dark fruit without upsetting at least lots of the population. So I won't.
But if you feel that we've upset you already, You can let us know via our website at www.disafterdark.com,
Yeah.
or you can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
Okay.
And you can find us on Twitter at Disafterdark, Facebook.com/Disafterdark, and we're also on MiceChat.com.
MiceChat.com, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. Yeah, that's and where else? Vine,
V24,
V24,
Fine,
a couple of others recently. I don't know.
Instagram.
Maybe I think we are. Yeah. No, did
Yeah.
I mention that? I don't know. Troy,
Yes.
we know you have a website, but I think it's about time we introduced you to our listeners properly.
All right.
Guys, you know, sometimes when you're busy and you're on holiday and you're wandering around the various theme parks and you're there, especially if you come from the UK, you're there for like 10 days, 2 weeks, 14 days, whatever. And you sometimes think to yourself, do you know what? I wonder what it would be like to live here. Have you ever had that thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a few beers, yeah.
Invariably. Well, Troy, tell us about it, Troy.
Well, I had the idea. I mean, we've been with the family, and just every time, this is awesome. I could live here. Then reality sets in. It's like being here, living here. My wife's like, you get bored. I was like, no, there's no way you can get bored. But it would be an endurance test, basically. But yeah, I'm looking into not making plans, but looking into the validity, the ability, the possibility of spending an entire year at Walt Disney World on property, not leaving, just showing up and living there for a year and see how that can possibly be done. A lot of planning is needed. More planning than I thought than just showing up and living.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine the logistics behind it are quite substantial. I remember a good few years ago, probably at least 10, 11 years ago now, there was a guy who called himself Duplo, who apparently, being independently wealthy, was spending an entire year in various resorts, but it turned out to just be a massive hoax.
That's what my sister told me. I should fake it until I can make it.
Yeah.
Just have a green screen behind me.
And as I say, we know, is it Brent Dodge has also done, every day for a year in a Disney park, but I believe he lives in the area and goes home every day. You're actually looking at staying on property.
On property, yeah.
In the hotels.
Exactly. Staying on property, doing the meal plan, and just having an annual pass. That way, not having to buy tickets and park hoppers every day. That would be
that would get a little bit expensive.
That's the only.
Is probably the way forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only easy bit about this whole plan. Really, you don't need to worry about what kind of ticket to get.
Exactly. Just season pass. Boom. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Just and I'm thinking start off at the cheaper hotels. The not cheaper, but the less expensive, like the Pop Century and all that. And then possibly moving up as able to, but because everything would have to be planned in advance, all that money and such would have to be also planned in advance. But I would want to reward myself by ending it possibly in the last week or two at Grand Floridian or something, just hoity-toityer than starting off.
It's the sort of thing that would achieve legendary status. And you kind of hope that if someone from Disney is paying attention, then maybe the last week will be in the Grand Floridian and will be free.
Oh.
but do you know what? I can't imagine it.
Well, we just have to speak to our good friend and listener of the podcast, Philip Gass.
Yeah.
I'm sure Philip will get involved. So, I mean, it sounds extremely ambitious. I was talking to my wife about this earlier and said that we was going to have you on the show today. It doesn't matter; she'll never listen to this. But we were discussing it, and she said, "Well, what does he mean? A year in property? Does he mean he's going to stay in the park?" I said, "Well, no." I said, "Obviously, that can't happen." But I wasn't sure whether or not you were going to try and stay on property, or kind of travel in every day. So it's interesting going down that route. I mean, have you got a rough kind of ballpark figure of what this might actually end up costing you?
Somewhat. Again, it's because trying to look online at pricing and such. I mean, as far as staying the weeks and then adding the food plan, that's the tricky part. I mean, finding as far as the hotels and such. But I have a general idea, and unfortunately, it's about 2 to 3 times as much as my house.
Yeah, that probably sounds about right. I'm trying to think. Is there a cheap way of doing it? Can you buy a Disney Vacation Club membership and just stay there for a year? I don't know.
What about camping at Fort Wilderness? How much does that cost? I got no idea what that would cost.
Stick the RV there for a
Or
few months.
tent.
Yeah.
Living in
I do.
I mean, it is a serious undertaking. You're let's put this into perspective. You're not actually looking at spending 365 days in theme parks. I'm pretty sure. Are you planning on 1 or 2 days where you actually just sit in the resort and continue work?
Yeah.
You're not retiring from it for a year.
No. I would. I mean, yeah, something else other than going to the theme parks. I mean, the only thing I can think of, the only reason to go to the theme park every single day is my dining plan. I might as well eat well and just go to Epcot every night for dinner or something. But yeah, something as far as every day. And I was thinking also, if this were to happen, of creating some sort of like a YouTube show where I record stuff and then talk about it. Have somebody's got to be with me. There's no way I would be able to do this alone. So I would have to have somebody there. Yeah, come on. We'll split the cost 4 ways, 5 ways if Craig wants to come.
Yeah.
And we could do this. But yeah, there's no way I'd be able to do it alone. So I'd want to do some sort of show, and then just take a couple of days off during the week, edit the show, whatever. Just let my brain not be in a park with 300,000 other people at one time, and maybe the pools or what have you. But yeah, and as far as work, you're talking about taking off work. Yeah, I'm not sure that's one of the major hurdles. Not losing my job completely, insurance and everything that goes along with having a job. Insurance is different here than over there, but it's that would be another major point. And
could you
quite depressive?
Could you work remotely, Troy? Is that part of the plan?
Not really. Not with my job, unfortunately. No. We don't have remote stuff that we would be able to do because of all the different systems.
Not with your gynecologist. Just a guess.
Yeah, that would be an interesting remote job and a complete different show, I feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you looking at doing this on your? We don't know much about you. Troy. Are you a married man with kids? Or
I am married. I've got 2 kids. They're older. One is 20.
Older than you?
16.
Oh.
Stop taking things literally.
But they're older, and so one of the ideas was to have my partner / co-host just cycle out, have my wife come out with me, cycle her out, have one of the kids come spend a couple of weeks with me, cycle them out, get another kid out there, and do something like that. That they have some cheap airfares because Orlando is so popular. Flying in from Dallas, that it wouldn't be too bad, especially if we have all the stuff already there with one trip.
No.
Would it make more sense? I mean, I know obviously you've got a job and you mentioned that and the benefits to go with that. I mean, it could be seen as cheating, but surely one of the easiest ways of getting this achieved in the way that you want to get it achieved is just to get a job at a hotel.
Right. Yeah. And actually, my wife had a cousin that had worked at Disney World. She was one of the characters for a year or 2.
Yeah.
But that would be a completely different animal, I think. I mean, and this is a pipe dream. I know the possibility of this coming to fruition is slim, but I mean, it's still something that I enjoy looking at and planning and figuring out just all the minutia, and it's
just the process of how you would go about doing it.
Exactly.
Excellent.
It's doable if you could work remotely. It's definitely doable.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, look, in England we had David Blaine sitting in a glass box in like by Tower Bridge for 40 days. I mean, you know, people saw that as an act of endurance. I mean, this far suppresses that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, in terms of endurance, if you was able to.
Especially if you've got the dining plan.
especially, yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, he starved himself for 40 days. At least you wouldn't have to do that to yourself.
At the end of it, just think how many snacks you'd have at the end of it. We always come back with loads of snacks.
Yeah. Just walk into the Goofy Candy Company and go, I might as well have the shop now.
Yeah.
Hello, good sir.
Yeah. Okay, so dining plan then. Would you be looking at the counter service for a year?
Oh no, I would probably do the middle one. That way, the snack, the counter, and then the sit down. That way, That way, it's not all fast food. I'm already fat. I don't need to add heart conditions. So I just some sort. I mean, I love Tepanetto, so I'd have to.
Oh yes.
Have to figure out a way to have some decent food in there.
At what point after 365 days would every single restaurant have been eaten in and know you by name?
Well, that would be awesome. Just walk into one of the restaurants at Disney, and everybody's like, "Hey, Troy, hey, like Norm."
Haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. You've got bigger.
Yeah, I hadn't even looked at all the different places, but surely, probably around September, October, I probably would have hit all the places where at least once.
Yeah, I think so. But I was thinking about it, so I did a little bit of rough calculation. So, if you stayed at a value resort, right, and you don't necessarily need to go on the dining plan. Could you do $200 a day? Could you survive on $200 a day?
If
that's 73,000. Yeah, $73,000 for the year. So it's about £50,000 is what the year would cost you. And you could probably go cheaper than that. Yeah.
I mean, I could do that. Yeah, and that's something else to look at. Yeah, possibly not doing dining plan, just doing cash. Yeah,
4 days.
Because
4 days out. You could say 4 days out of the week, you'd go, "That's it. I'm bored of this dining plan. I just want a bag of chips."
Yeah.
Right. And that's another thing. Think about shipping stuff there, so that it's there, like equipment, computer, a microwave. That way, toss some popcorn or something just to.
Because there are lots of lists that you could complete when you were there. So, for example, you could have every sambwich on the menu at Early Sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Every single one. There are lots of completers that you could go for.
Yeah. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah.
have a little badge, make little sew-on badges.
Well, they just give you those stickers that you put on the wrap. You just be covered from head to foot and Swiss and ham and cheese
badges. Just stickers.
I hadn't thought of not doing the dining plan, but that does make a lot of sense. I've been possibly thinking $2,000, so or too big. Not $2,000, but too big. So yeah, paring it down, just figuring out how to survive off of less.
Well, we've discussed the dining plan before, actually, on here, because I've never done the dining plan on my trips to Orlando. The other guys have, and I think you definitely have to weigh up the options. I think it makes a lot more sense if there's going to be more than one person, or actually more than two people. I think when you're looking at 3-4 people, it really starts to add. It starts to pay for itself a lot more than if it's just the one. But I wonder as well, because I mean, it probably wouldn't be that easy to find out without actually contacting the hotel direct. But I wonder if you contacted any of the hotels on site and you said, like, look, I'm looking for a lengthy stay, I'm looking at possibly 6 weeks or 8 weeks here or whatever, and have an extended period, what they would actually offer you for like a long-term fix. They might offer you nothing, or they might be able to offer you some kind of discount.
And that's something that I have thought of, seeing, okay, sponsorship or just, hey, I'm going to be here walking you, help me out, something. Somebody had mentioned on one of the message boards about staying at the hotels for extended period of time. I think there's a limit because of residency laws or something in Florida where you can't stay at the same hotel. And something else I have to look at.
Yeah, we hit this when we tried to book for more than 21 days. I think you can get around it, but they don't want a single booking of more than 21 days, I don't think.
Right.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
What about if you... No, sorry.
Carry on.
Yep.
Awkward silence.
Sorry. I was going to say, I mean, of course, the other option, I mean, obviously, I'm not sure of your age. I don't want to ask your age. I'm not that kind of person. But if you could get away with putting a bit of makeup on, pretending you're an older gentleman, there's always the retirement village as well.
My beard is grayer than it should be, so that may
Good start. Good start.
Yeah.
Hoist your pants up towards
just doing a bit of research. There are about 70 full-service restaurants. So even with the dining plan going for a nice sit-down full-service restaurant, you'll be in them at least 3 times in the course of a year. So, you get to try most of the menu that you want to.
Yeah. But there are definitely places I'd hit up more than the 3. Yeah.
This conversation and kind of bet you had with the wife, are we allowing any off-site venturing into other areas of Kissimmee or Orlando, or have you specifically set yourself the goal of staying within 42 square miles?
I said myself staying within the confines of Disney. I mean, sure, going to downtown Disney and then going across the street to the gas station to get some Mountain Dew, because that sort of thing. A Pepsi product, so they don't have it at Disney World. So that would be allowed, but I'm not going to have a car. I would fly in, have everything picked up, and hauled in. I wouldn't have a vehicle there at the property.
So you have to use the buses for a year as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, I mean, people in New York do that.
You could just about get to downtown Disney in that time, taking a bus from Old Key West.
Yeah.
For anyone that's never been before, by the way, because I mean the thing is, we've all been, so it's easy to kind of get an idea in your head. But for those that haven't actually ever made it to Walt Disney World, nothing really is within walking distance.
No.
And certainly, if you wanted to go to, if you wanted to venture out to a Walmart or a Target or one of those supermarkets, or even a fast food outlet, there is just no possible way you would walk to one because the land is just so big. So, when he says there's no car, the restrictions there. I mean, there are buses that take you everywhere you need to on property, but like you say, you would be completely stuck within the size of Manchester.
Completely imbubbled.
Yeah. Yes. It's like a weird, twisted version of Under the Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
or the
sister,
Simpsons movie.
Yeah.
My sister believes that psychiatric evaluations before, during, and after would be necessary, just because, like you said, you're stuck there. But
I've seen people get grants for university degrees for very similar. So, hey, that's another way of financing it.
There you go. There you go.
To be honest,
I work 20 miles away from the house. Other than that, I mean, I really don't venture that far. So, and there's a lot more to see, I would think, at Walt Disney World than around here as far as stuff.
Well, you would get to really know the park.
Oh yeah,
extremely.
Oh
well.
yeah.
That's again, that's something else. I mean, especially now, I've got two small children, very small children. So when we've been to Disneyland, Paris, with them, in fact, one time when my daughter was about 5 months old, and we went on one ride the entire trip. We were just too busy actually looking at the park itself and looking at all the kind of details. So you would end up doing, I'd imagine, a lot of that because you have so much time on your hands. But I mean, going back to the university grant thing, Paul's dead right. And also, to be completely honest, I've seen a lot worse get funded on things like Indiegogo and Kickstarter and those kind of things. Yeah, I really have. I was actually discussing one today, and I mean, and I suppose there's a slight similarity, but you'll understand the difference.
What will you get back? Absolutely nothing.
But there was a couple that had actually set one up and said, it's my dream to live near to Disney World, and I can't really afford it, so give me money so I can move there. And that was it. That was the campaign, and people were actually donating money to it. At least with what you're trying to do, there is an angle.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You're not saying I want to live there because it sounds like fun. I mean, you are, but it's like an experiment. It's not simply, I would like to move and I don't have any money, so people with money give me money. There is an angle here. I mean, to be honest, there are enough networks in America now that if you actually try to shop this idea around, somebody would likely at least part fund it.
I've just had a brainwave. I've just had a brainwave. Len Tester, touringplans.com. You could offer him your services as a researcher, right? Because they have people who go into all the hotels, check the hotels out, check the restaurants out. You could be their on-site researcher for 365 days. They would sponsor you, I'm sure, and employ you even.
And who is this again?
Touringplans.com. So they produce the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World, plus other unofficial guides.
Yeah.
And,
at the end of it, there's quite a book to be written, I would imagine, at the end of it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A picture book, because I love taking pictures. So a picture book. I mean, there's just so much that can come out of it. And as far as like crowdfunding, that's the way I'd have to do it, because there's no way I can work for 150 years and then be able to afford to go. I'd have to. But and one of the things with the crowdfunding, they all seem to offer some sort of kickback or something. Like, here, donate this, and I'll give you this.
Donate $10, get a badge. Donate $20, get 2 badges. Donate $30, get 2 badges and a sticker.
Yeah, or my enduring thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, that's about all I can offer right now, and still be able to. So that is, as far as just trying to figure out an angle that way as far as what to offer. Because I mean, I have other plans. I mean, like one of the things I would want to do is like a free pin Friday. Go to Morocco, get one of the fezzes, and just have it loaded up with pins, and then I'll put out on Twitter or something. Hey, I'm going to be at this park. If you see me, come up, say hi. I'll give you a pin off my hat. You get to choose. That was just some sort of interaction, and then something else. Just fun.
There's a hell of a lot that could be done leading on from it.
A book deal.
Yeah.
A book deal.
Yeah.
Turn around and say, this is what I'm trying to do. And again, I've seen books with a lot worse subject matter get funded in order to do it. And those, let's be honest, and I'm sorry for anyone that works in the publishing industry, but let's be honest, they're idiots, because they'll just give you the money. They'll just throw the money at you and hope that you're actually going to keep your promise. I mean, sure, they'll sue you if you don't do it, but the fact is they'll pay you the money up front. Unless you get addicted to heroin or something, you should all be fine.
Dear.
Other drugs available, blah blah blah.
Yeah, etc. So okay, we've sorted out the book deal for you. When it comes to the book, when it comes to the finalising of the book deal, and it's finally made into a movie, who's gonna play you?
Kevin Smith's lost too much weight, I think.
I think Paul Giamatti.
Oh, there you go. He's a chameleon.
I saw your pictures today, and I was like, I can see that. I can see that happening.
Yeah. You give him add a few pounds to him. He's a chameleon. He can be anybody. So yeah. But,
Excellent.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that
It's
gotta have.
That's it.
Well, Brian from Comic Book Men, if he lost some weight, Craig will understand that. I don't think anyone else will, but yeah.
At least the Ultimate Warrior hasn't got a mention so far.
He's dead. Oh, I see. That's your point. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. It does sound like a fantastic premise. Nick, how do you think you would survive?
How would I survive?
Yeah, how would you survive a year?
Well, you know what?
Wait.
Because there was something I wanted to mention at the top of the show and I didn't, so I'll tie the two things in.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, I can't help but feel that by doing this, no matter how much you love Disney and how much you think that 365 days would be easy doing it, I think you would slightly go mad a little bit.
Yeah.
And let me explain on that a little bit as well, because the thing is, especially the one thing that people say when comparing Disneyland Paris to the American Disney parks is the attitude of the cast members. Generally, I find the French to be quite good, but they don't tend to be as jolly or as happy or as over-enthusiastic as our American cousins when it comes to service like that around Disney property. And I think, especially from our point of view, where we're not used to that on a daily basis, because basically we're all miserable grumps over here.
Are we stereotyping the British grump? Yeah.
We are, that is what we are.
Yeah.
You would go slightly mad, I think, after 365 days. However, purely based on the fact that we have had official confirmation this week that there is definitely going to be a Tron 3 being filmed this year, I think knowing that would be coming out at some point would be enough to let me survive 365 days. That's how excited I am for Tron 3. No connection almost, but I had to say it.
Yeah, and knowing that the rules are you can't leave Disney property. I really hope in those circumstances that it isn't shown at the Universal City Walk Cinema.
No, it'll be on the AMC down at Disney. It'll be fine.
Downtown Disney.
But I think that's the other thing as well, especially from a British point of view, is the fact that it's almost like, well, except for my friends who I think are quite crazy, I think to go to Orlando and not be able to go off Disney property to see other things, again, would drive me mad. I do.
Whenever we've been, because we drive when we've been, we drive down there, and then once we park, we just stayed. I mean, buses everywhere, eat there and everything. So yeah, we have
how long are you there for?
What's your standard length of stay?
Exactly. Yeah. We're only there for like a week or so. So yeah, the year would be a test. Absolutely. But
I mean, the thing is, when Brits generally go, we normally go for a minimum of 2 weeks and more than likely 3 weeks.
And even that, we'll fit in your SeaWorlds and your Busch Gardens and your Universals.
You spend your token like 1 day each at another park that's not on Disney property.
Not Disney. No, I've never been.
1 day for shopping for some reason.
Yeah.
I've never been to Universal or SeaWorld. How do you get there? I mean, do they have buses and stuff that come pick you up at on the property, or how's that work?
No, we hire cars or we get taxis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
there is a bus, but
I think
it's like a Mears, it's like a Mears shuttle, isn't it, or something like that?
Okay.
I think the Swan and Dolphin has one. I'm not sure about Disney hotels though.
No, Disney Transportation themselves don't.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but sorry.
It's a perfectly valid question, because I mean we're obviously putting down the fact that you wouldn't. This isn't 365 days in the Magic Kingdom.
Yes,
by which
property.
I can almost guarantee by the first 360, you'll be absolutely batshit crazy.
But
that's my sister was accusing me of just becoming like that weird guy that's hiding around the corner and just jumps out and grabs somebody's fries and then goes and runs down.
It's going to be finding a resort that has a nice washing machine and tumble dryers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, West.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they all do because definitely have to keep tidy.
And how many days can you come in from? Actually, I've got to do a bit of remote work. So I'm going to sit in reception or in the bar and just open up the laptop and do some work. Go back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another bloody towel animal. Stop it with the towel animals.
365 pictures of towel animals.
No, I just keep challenging the maid every day.
Yep,
Say, is
seen
this
that
the
one.
best you can do?
Yeah, seen
Right,
this one.
you've got another 364 days to get it up to life size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, start making my own and leaving threatening notes from the towel animals to the housekeeper.
Yeah.
So how, Paul? How would you, either Paul, both Pauls, how would you survive with this kind of challenge?
Go on, Mr. D can go first then.
Okay. Well, I mean, it depends whether you can work. So if you can work, I think that makes a big difference, right? I mean, there is a lot of other stuff. We tend to think about the 4 theme parks, but I mean, for me, I play golf. There's like 5 golf courses on Disney World. You got, you can go fishing, cycling. There's lots of other stuff in the different resorts. You got movie theatre, like we talked about at Downtown Disney. You got £10 bowling. So it would kind of depend on money, I guess, if you got money to enjoy all of these things. But for me, the only kind of downside to it is 365 days non-stop without leaving the resort. At the end of it, I don't know if you'd ever go back again. So I think you'd be burned out on it. And if you ever did go back, it wouldn't be the same. But having said that, you go through a whole year, so you'd have Halloween, you'd have Easter, Star Wars weekends, Food and Wine, Flower and Garden. So there are lots of different seasons and events and things like that to keep it somewhat fresh. But that would be the big worry, that at the end of it, I'd feel like the novelty or the shine had gone.
Never want to go again.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to spend 6 months in Tokyo. Because there's only the 2 parks there. Yeah.
A year in Disneyland Paris? No.
Oh. Yeah, just no.
Mais no.
I mean, the thing is, I love it. I do love it, but people that go for a week, unless there's a reason why, I can't get my head around it. Like if you're just going to Disneyland Paris, 3, maybe 4 days is plenty. If you're planning to go into Paris as well, I can understand like a 5th or 6th day as well for that. That's fine. But if you're literally just going to be going to Disney property, then I don't know why you want to spend more than that time there.
Yeah, I'd agree with Paul. It's the sort of thing you do if you can, if whatever job you do allows you to do remote work and can continue to pay for it. So you're essentially still paying for your lodgings,
Right.
your room and board, but you're earning a little bit while you're there somehow as well, which would be great. Unless the job was Monday to Friday, at which point there you are, this close to Disney World, sitting in a hotel actually doing work.
Yeah.
And it's like, at least, on the dining plan at that point, it's like, oh, great, I'm just going to take an hour for lunch and get a bus into Epcot, sit down, have some teppanydo, come back out again. But how far would you have to make your reservations? 180 days in advance.
Yeah.
He'd be Troy. He wouldn't have to do it. Who are you talking to? You're talking to Troy. Just walk in there like a pimp.
There'd be a seat.
Yo!
After the first 180 days, there'd be a seat waiting for you with your name on it.
It'd be like
Reserved
Cheers.
sign.
Norm, hey, Norm.
That's right. There wouldn't be like a chef's table. It would be the Troy table.
The toy tin.
That'd be it.
Because you're going to have to take the 180 days in advance to actually book anything for the first 180 days.
Right.
After that, you can just take it as you go along. But yeah,
And I'm wondering, because I have friends that have vacation property down there, part of the vacation club, and so they show up. So if I make my reservations in advance, can I add guests to that reservation instead of just a reservation for 2? Can I change it and make it a reservation for 4 or reservation for 6? That way, hey, come eat with me. Still got to pay for yourself. But
Invariably, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a very big. I probably shouldn't be mentioning it, but they'll close it soon enough anyway. This is a loophole they do in Paris, where, and I don't know the full ins and outs. So if you want to Google it, it's up to you. I'm not condoning it or condemning it, but where you can actually effectively book a hotel room for one person, because there's no single rooms. I'm guessing it's the same in Orlando as well. There's no single rooms, so
right.
Even if you booked a room for one person, you would end up with a double bed, and I think some bunk beds as well. So you can book the hotel room for one, and when you actually turn up to book in, you can actually say, "Oh, I'd like to add these people onto the booking as well. Add the rest of your party, the 3 or 4 people that are there as well, and all you pay is city tax, which is like a few euros per person per night." So people have tended to do that. Now, I'm not sure if that applies with the American hotels or not. I know it's something that they're either looking to review, or they might review, or they might discontinue because it's France. I don't know. But so you might actually be able to do that, is what I'm saying.
A little bit cheaper. Now that they have the magic bands, I haven't been since they have the magic bands, but I guess they can't get in the room without me. But I don't want them in my room without me anyway. So just everybody pile in.
What other issues could we face? I mean, if you had the magic bands and you paid for the photo pass, the Magic Plus photo pass,
God,
you only get like 30 days on which to download them.
What's the limit?
You're going to have to ask for an extension of 335 days to it.
Have terabytes of PhotoPass pictures downloaded.
So when does it end if you start?
Yeah.
Does it 30 days after the end of your 365 days?
Is it you've got 30 days from when you first log in to check your photographs?
I don't know. I've not done it since they've done mine. Mine came on a disc.
Yeah,
that's when I last had a photo pass.
Is it 30? That's worth looking at. Is it 30 days from when you first download the photographs? Because I mean, $190 for a year's worth of photographs will just be terabytes of storage. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to slightly deviate from the topic a little bit.
Feel free.
This is something that we were supposed to mention on the last show and completely forgot about, so apologies, but we are covering it now. Of course we do. To be honest, can I just point out as well, before I go any further forward, the fact that Paul turned round and went, "I've been doing some research and I've worked this out," I was stunned by. Just by the sheer audacity that you actually put some effort into this show. I feel quite dirty, to be honest, Paul. I love you, man. I appreciate the effort, but at the same time...
It's only because Craig couldn't be here with us, so someone had to actually do a job.
Someone actually do the work. No, fair play. Fair play. I was amazed and slightly repulsed at the same time.
I could also have just been lying and just thought that one up.
But we had a message from former guests and hopefully future guests, Lewis Sutton, who is our friend from the land down under.
Right.
When I eat Vegemite sandwiches, and he said that he's planning a trip to Walt Disney World next March, and you can't do that bit, Paul, because that's the bit that they got sued for, because that's an older Aboriginal song.
Okay.
So the rest of that song is fine, but yeah, we can't get away with that. Lewis said, "I'm planning a trip to Walt Disney World." Why do I know that? Forget it. I'm planning a trip to Walt Disney World next year.
I don't know if they can sue us. I couldn't even recognise it.
Colin Hay might do. So if you remember rightly, he'd been to Disneyland Paris. He'd just come back from there when we had him on, and he'd been to Disneyland, but he hadn't been to Disney World. So he messaged to say that he's planning a trip to Walt Disney World next March, and he wanted to pick our brains on the best hotels to stay in on site. And he said any info would be greatly appreciated. Now, I was not the best person to answer this because I've only ever stayed on one property on site, which is Pop Century, which is it's not a moderate, it's a value. Value is the lowest tier. So, I've stayed at the Pop Century Hotel, And to be honest, when I look at hotels, for me personally, I see them as somewhere that I'm literally going to be sleeping in, probably pooping in, and getting up and doing the same thing the next day. So my stay in a hotel room is normally just a few hours a day. Now, obviously, Troy, this is going to be a bit different for you because you're planning to be doing other stuff. But that's how I see hotels. So, to be honest, as long as the hotel is kind of clean, doesn't smell, and has working air conditioning, I'm pretty happy. And I like the
and a flushing toilet.
Very important. Don't want to get that blocked up. And I like the theming of Pop Century. Like I like the grounds and what they had to look around there as well. And I like the way the whole complex has been themed, really. So for people on a budget, I think it's a great place to stay. But I know that you guys have got your own personal favourite properties, so I thought I'd throw the question out to you as well on your experience and just try and give Lewis some advice, really.
All right. The two hotels I've stayed on property on, Port Orleans, Riverside, a couple of times. Very nice hotel, very good theming. It's themed and it's family. It's got swimming pools. Knowing that Lewis is, unless things have changed, family-wise, it's Lewis and the girlfriend, wife, Mrs., whatever. So I would go with the Swan or the Dolphin. The restaurants are lovely compared to the food court in the moderates that I've stayed in. And you're within walking distance of Epcot and a little bit of nightlife and a dueling piano bar with a bit more to do. And it's a bit more of an adult... Yeah, it's a bit more of an adult grown-up hotel than a themed hotel. Unless you want to be immersed fully in the theming. So I would go with the Swan or Dolphin, actually, for an adult couple.
Am I correct in saying that the Swan and Dolphin is not officially it's on Disney property?
Sheraton.
Quite clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheraton. So,
but they're allowed to use Disney transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And get all the other benefits of Disney stuff.
Yeah, they have all the same perks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me sounds pretty ideal. You've now sold that idea to me. It's one you never kind of look at. You just kind of automatically go for like the value or the moderates, whatever the dining plans on or whatever. But
for a young couple without family, it's a lovely, very professional, very nice hotel. For that reason,
definitely for not family.
Videos. I was watching like the touring videos of different hotels on YouTube with my wife, and we watched the Swan and Dolphin, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's a wonderful hotel. But my wife even commented, if I'm going to go to Disney, I want Disney. You know, I mean, there are nice hotels here in Dallas that's I'm sure are almost as nice, if not nicer than Swan and Dolphin. But yes, you're near Disney and everything. That's I mean, when we go to Disney. We want Disney, even if it's just the two of us. Yeah, she would want Disney.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
that's what this is for.
All opinions are valid.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
mine is more valid than anyone else's.
Clearly,
we really liked.
Only because you can edit everybody else's out.
The French Quarter, we really enjoyed that one. I mean, it's the nice theming, and it's not cartoony like the All-Star movies we've been to or Pop Century we've been to. But French Quarter, I mean, it was adult-ish, adult-esque, if you will, but it was still themed. But like you said, there's food courts and there's still kids running around, but it's got a fun pool with a dragon.
Yeah, the one with the dragon and the Triton and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So from my point of view, I mean, we've done the values and we've done French Quarter. Do like French Quarter, but I mentioned it before. We like Old Key West. Couple of reasons. It's a Disney Vacation Club property. It's just got a nice feel about it. But then you get some extra stuff. So get a little bit extra room. You got a patio in the room, or outside the room actually, but you get a patio or a balcony. They got things like tennis courts, sort of games room. There is a swimming pool, pretty decent swimming pool. So we quite like that. But if we could trade up, we've never actually stayed in this one, but if we could trade up a little bit, we'd probably go for something like the beach club or the yacht club. For some of the same reasons that Paul went for Swan and Dolphin, it's a great location. You can walk into Epcot. You can actually walk to Hollywood Studios from there.
Yeah.
You got the boardwalk area, and you get some really good restaurants in the Swan and Dolphin, in the Swan and Dolphin, which are next door, in the Yacht and Beach Club, and then you've got everything in Epcot and everything around the boardwalk. So, yeah, Yacht and Beach Club if we could trade up a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say anything around that boardwalk, Epcot area, because I mean, if I was an old romantic sod, which my wife would definitely say, probably not.
Yeah, well, you're two of them for sure.
Yeah, and Meatloaf did say 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So I would go because it's completely different hanging around Epcot for illuminations, seeing the fireworks, and then walking back along some sort of boardwalk hand in hand with the one you love, as opposed to scrumming like the England Rugby League squad onto a bus.
Everybody's tired and
loving the one you're with.
Yeah. So I would say
the one who's in front of you.
Yeah, that to me is it. But then you still got the rugby scrum getting out of wishes. So you won't have it all perfect.
Basically, what I said earlier about the fact that you can't walk anywhere on property is a bit bull, because actually you do technically can.
Well, no, you can't. You still can't. You still can't walk to a Walmart from the beach club
or the Magic Kingdom from those places either. Really,
even at the higher end, if you happen to be afford to stay at the Grand Floridian, you still don't have to pay all that money and can't walk to a Walmart.
No,
that is very, very true.
I mean, you don't get all the good things in life.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's very true. I mean, I think the hotels that have been suggested are very good. I mean, obviously, with any of these kind of things, it comes purely down to budget. I've looked at the Contemporary before, and it's very expensive for what it is. And from the rooms that I've seen, I don't think it's necessarily worth the extra buck. I've been to the Grand Floridian for character breakfast, and I found the atmosphere in there a little bit hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity was what I was going to say.
It's nice to know that translates across the Atlantic.
Yeah, I'm glad it does, because I was saying it thinking no one's going to know what I'm saying. And yeah, just I think it was almost like you expect to be a certain clientele. To be honest, having been there afterwards or walking around there, it was very much like visiting a Disneyland hotel. It was the same kind of personnel, probably because it's so bloody expensive to stay there. And obviously the Polynesian is another expensive one. I mean, if you wanted to kind of go to those expensive resorts, I personally think the most fun looking of those would probably be the Polynesian.
Yeah,
probably the most laid back of those three. And all three of those are directly on Magic Kingdom's doorstep as well.
The new floaty villas look quite fun as well.
Yeah,
yes.
Those, yeah.
But I mean, in all honesty, I think I would rather have more money to take out there than spend on the hotel. So if you're talking of a few hundred pounds or dollars between going from a value hotel to a moderate to one of the deluxe, then I think that's probably a worthwhile investment. But I know sometimes that you could actually be looking into a couple of thousand. And for my own personal opinion, I'd rather have 1,000 or 2 extra to spend on merchandise, Disney merchandise made in China, or going out for a nice meal at a deluxe restaurant, than on somewhere that I'm going to be sleeping in for a few hours a day.
Yeah. Right. Agreed.
Yeah. Do you do much travel with work at the moment?
Me?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No.
Because
travel is something I feel I have to do that because in my bones. I mean, I want to try, but no, unfortunately not.
Because you're going to have to get used to almost every night for a year asking for a table for one.
No. That's why I need a partner.
You need a book.
First couple of times you can get away with it. After about a month of constantly going table for one, it gets heartbreaking. Another thing.
Just hear the music from Up.
Yeah.
the slow version.
And another thing I thought.
Just get T-shirts printed with something on them.
Yeah,
like,
1 year at Disney.
Yes, it's a table for one. Get over it. You know.
I'm here for a year. F you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I think you're going to have to look out for is when you are doing those days where you're just relaxing and lazing around in the hotel, maybe doing some work if that's the case, or writing your book or filming your blog or whatever. How quickly are you going to get bored of the TV channel showing the top 10 things? I reckon after about the first week you'll go, done 'em.
I'll rewrite them, have my own top 10. But I love the Japanese channel. Whenever we go, half the time the TV is on the Japanese channel. I don't speak Japanese. Very little I understand, but I just love it for whatever reason. The game shows and the drama.
Castle.
It's normally very violent and has lots of flashing imagery. That's probably what appeals to you. That's what appeals to us. So it does make sense.
Fall on the floor.
But yes, that as well.
Yeah.
But Lewis, I hope that kind of gives you some food for thought on that. And if you want any more help and advice on your upcoming trip, obviously let us know. We're more than happy to help.
Oh, absolutely. That's to get you guys up.
Yeah, you can definitely. If this all pulls through, you'll definitely be the best one to give advice over us.
Yeah.
In fact, for every show for a year, you'll be on. Reserve your Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, we'll help pass the time for you.
I'd love for y'all, if this were to happen, at least one at a time or something. Y'all come out and visit and do it live.
Hell yeah,
that'd be fun.
That'd be good.
That sounds like some kind of deal.
It depends on the book deal. If the book deal comes off, we'll all come out at the same time, just without the missuses.
Yeah, Troy, I'll let my people talk to your people.
All right.
Let's have a power lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get that on the dining plan?
I think so.
We're only out for 2 days. Can I have the dining plan with it? Yeah. Excellent. I like the sound of this. Anyway,
for no reason whatsoever, I've just remembered my favourite ever Buzz expression. I think, as I said about power lunch, and that was let's pick up a thought plate and take it to the all-you-can-think buffet. Somebody once said that in a meeting that we attended.
I'm writing that down.
Did you throw up?
Absolutely. No, how can you throw up at that? I mean, God, you feel absolutely repulsed. The fact that somebody had the audacity to say that and try and be serious with it as well.
I can't remember what time it was last on television over here, but whether you're even old enough to remember Gus from Drop the Dead Donkey.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a Gusism.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Anyway, Troy, if people do want to send you money or follow your planning and adventures, where can they do this?
Easiest way right now is through Twitter. I'm fairly active on there. I also have Tumblr, but I link everything through Twitter. So everything I'm doing right now, I bounce through Twitter. So I am at 1YATDIS. So 1 year at Disney's 1YATDIS. Originally, that was going to be 1 year AD. Then my sister pointed out that people might think I'm a paleontologist or something. So
yeah,
some sort of religious nut.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
1YATDIS, and that's where I am daily and posting stuff.
And that's the number one.
Yes, the number one. I apologize.
Just to be. No. I mean, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with what you said, but just to be completely explicit.
Yeah. People typing out
Wow.
Not W.
We're actually getting detail oriented here.
And do
Not too much.
research. Well,
Don't push it. Don't push it. Where can they find us?
Sitting in a pub at the moment. But
Invariably.
no, I mean, if you're not here, because we're not here all the time,
No.
but we're always at our website, which is www.disafterdark.com. And also you can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com. And did I mention that Tron 3 is definitely happening? Because it is. There you go.
and what about Ryan Gosling in the Haunted Mansion? Yes.
Well, actually, that's not only is that big news, but also, and I didn't realise this was actually happening. I suppose we do need to mention it's big Disney news, and that is the new addition to the Haunted Mansion next month of the Hatbox Ghost.
Hatbox Ghost, yeah.
It's finally going in, or
Yeah.
finally going back in.
Back in.
Yeah.
So you can tweet us at Disafterdark if you want to discuss that one. Or
We might
leave
mention
us a
it.
comment on
Yeah.
facebook.com/Disafterdark. And we're also on MiceChat.com.
There's some videos still on YouTube under Disafterdark Podcast and Instagram and Vine and anywhere else Craig puts us when he's not busy.
Yes.
Indeed. On which note, time, gentlemen, please. Thank you very much for joining us, Troy.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
We
And I
wish
hope
you
to do it
all the
again.
best.
Sure.
Of luck. Yeah, we wish you all the best of luck with your endeavours, and we mean that from the bottom of our hearts because
Yep.
we want to speak to you again when you're out there,
All right,
Yep.
absolutely.
And also as well,
or even in a few months when your planning is still
Yeah.
going well underway.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any updates, feel free to come back. If you get the book deal that we've suggested you go out and get, we obviously want our 5%. So
Yep.
come back with that as well.
Or a small part in the movie.
yes.
Poor Craig missed out. He can't get any of the percentages.
Yeah, you
Hey,
don't want
Paul,
Craig in the movie.
Mr. Dolan, we could have Ryan Gosling play you in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Christopher Lee can play me. Hope he's still alive.
I want Vin Diesel to play me.
Oh, God. You know what, actually, off topic, that reminds me, I need to go and speak to Lee and Tracy. I'm not going to give those guys a plug. They get enough listeners anyway. But
Hang on, we go from Vin Diesel to Liam Tracy.
Interesting.
but no, because it's looped because I've been watching the Fast and Furious series of films
Oh,
and making
somebody's
my
got to.
poor wife watch them as well this week.
Right.
And I can't believe that they're making as much money as they are, and Universal still haven't got a proper attraction for them. So I'm going to pull them up on it because obviously they're involved with all that.
Meh. I got Star Wars on iTunes now
How do we not even talk about that?
because we got better things to talk about.
Oh, Star Wars, dude! If you want to
But-
stop the recording and restart, we can talk Star Wars for another hour, dude.
But
Do you know what?
Can I?
And do you know what? I'm glad Han shot first, okay? I don't give a toss about Greedo and Honor and all of that. He shot first. Get over it.
He didn't shoot
You
first.
wanna-
He shot. There was no first. He's the only one that shot.
Exactly.
That's a
even
very good
even
point.
better. Don't give
But
the
can
green
I just
sword a
point out-
chance.
Yeah.
Can I just point out?
There's supposed to
we
be
were
a trailer
talking-
for Episode 7 at the beginning of Age of Ultron, isn't there? That's what I think.
The trailer, the trailer's being shown for the first time this Thursday.
Oh,
Actually,
that's right. right.
at the celebration event, but hasn't been confirmed yet for Age of Ultron. But obviously, we're hoping it will be. Also, if you got to mention, happy 23rd birthday to Disneyland Paris today. I'm sure they've got a big cake with lots of candles. But
It made
can I
it
just
shape
point
like a
out on the
castle.
fact that we talked about Star Wars? Did I or did I not on the last show?
Yes, you mentioned Tron.
mention it.
Okay.
No, not Tron.
All right.
Although there is a Tron 3 coming out. But did I not mention the fact that there would be a digital release of Star Wars very soon,
You did, you called it.
and we weren't sure what versions it was going to be? We
You called
guessed
it.
it was going to be the crappy versions, and it is the crappy versions where people shoot second for no reason whatsoever.
Try
But
and make them look good.
we called it.
Yeah, we called
You
it.
did.
This show called it before it was announced. So I want that
Exclusive.
to be known on the record, Mr. Jury.
So do you want to call another
That
one?
happened.
Do you want to call another one? When's Tron 4 released?
You know what? The fact they're even making a third one against their own stupidity means that unless it makes $10 billion, there won't be a Tron 4. And I'm completely fine with that. I only wanted Tron 3. I'm not greedy, right? I just wanted 3 films in the series. That's all I wanted. If I get a 4th, wonderful. But I'm not expecting it. I don't have to live for it. Tron 3 is fine. On that note, I'm out.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, as someone else goes, I'm hungry, I'm going to punch a producer.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Disafterdark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
When's he coming on, by the way? I mean, Clarkson ain't got anything else to do, is he?
That's true.
Has he ever been to Disney? And now we need to do our challenge. We need to do a Top Gear-like challenge where one of us takes the bus, one of us takes the plane, and one of us drives down.
No, we need to get
plane,
plane,
Eurostar, or car down to Disneyland Paris, leaving from the same time. Anyone up for that?
No, here's another alternative challenge.
Yeah?
All of us versus Clarkston on Autopia.
The Stig.
Yeah,
some say he only drives around very slowly. There, a sudden silence. On that note, I hit this button. Bye-bye all.
See ya.
Bye.